Hey guys, what's up? So I'm pretty sure all of you on Saturday night were watching the season finale of Doctor Who. And instead of giving my reaction and opinion to just the season finale, I thought what I would do was give you kind of like my overall opinion of what I thought of season 8. So at the end of 2013, we had the Christmas special, The Time of the Doctor, where unfortunately we had to say goodbye to Matt Smith as he left his turn as being the 11th Doctor and handed it over to the new Doctor, number 12, Peter Capaldi. Now at first, just like everybody else, I had my doubts about Peter Capaldi being the new Doctor. It didn't have to do anything about him being Scottish, and it didn't really have anything about him being old. It's just like, we weren't quite sure if we liked the rough, tough Doctor, whereas the previous 2 years we had David Tennant and Matt Smith as basically boyfriend doctors. But I'd have to say, so far, throughout all the 12 episodes from this season, I'd have to say that Capaldi is a pretty good Doctor. He's not the romantic Doctors that we had, as I said, with Tennant and Smith, but, you know, he is he's a good Doctor. He's what you want in a Doctor. Also this season, we got to meet Clara's love interest, which is Danny Pink, played by Samuel Anderson. And again, like with Peter Capaldi, we didn't quite know what to make of Danny. I kind of thought at first Danny was going to end up like being Mickey from Series 1 and Series 2, back with Eccleston, and then of course with David Tennant. And so I kind of thought that Danny was going to be basically another Mickey, and that Clara was going to turn into Rose, and then it was kind of like, okay, we've kind of seen this before, but then turns out Danny is not Mickey, of course, because nobody could ever be Mickey. And lastly, throughout this season, we got to meet the villain, or villainess, I should say, played by Michelle Gomez as Missy, or the Mistress, or of course, by now, you know that Missy is the reincarnation of the Master. So that was pretty good. And from what, the little parts that we saw throughout the season, and then of course, at the end of the season finale, when we find out that Missy is the Master, basically, that, it all came together well. Plus, Missy's character and her outfit, to be more precise, is it just fit perfectly, evil Mary Poppins. I mean, why not? I mean, it makes sense. Alright, so those were the characters, returning and new, and so what I thought I'd do now is I break down each episode from the season and basically tell you what I thought some of the highlights are, and basically kind of give a rating of sorts. Episode 1, Deep Breath, we get to meet not just Clara and the Doctor, but we also get to meet the Paternoster gang again, which are Jenny Strack and Madame Verasta. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And we basically get to, that's when we get to meet the new Doctor, played by Peter Capaldi, and we get to see that, how he, interacts with everybody else, and how he basically, becomes the 12th Doctor. That, and it's also cool that, hello, there was a giant T-Rex basically roaming around London. I mean, who doesn't want to see a giant T-Rex? And then, of course, there were the cyborgs who were trying to get to the Promised Land. That was, and then that basically started the whole story arc of Season 8, the whole Promised Land thing, Heaven, and of course, Missy. Episode 4, listen, by far is my favorite episode of this season, because the whole episode was basically a love letter to classic horror, with the whole what you don't see is more scarier than what you do see. I mean, I just loved it. Because basically, you know, the longer you don't see something, and then when you finally do, the payoff is so worth it. Episode 5, Time Heist, basically was, yet again, another homage, but not to classic horror, but to the classic Ocean's 11. The entire episode was basically Doctor Who meets Ocean's 11, and it was fantastic. Episode 11, Dark Water, which happens to be the first episode of the season finale, the whole Promised Land story arc comes together with the unfortunate death of Danny Pink. So after Danny's death, it hits Clara really hard, and she doesn't quite know how to cope with it, but then remembers, oh yeah, I have the doctor, he can fix anything. And so after she hijacks the TARDIS, basically, to take her and him to a volcano so she can destroy every single TARDIS key ever known to exist. But then find out that none of that ever happened because the Doctor did a whole Star Trek The Next Generation thing on her and made the TARDIS think that she was actually at the volcano, when in reality, she was just on the TARDIS. So, that was really cool. Then, of course, they find out where Danny is in this place called 3W, which stands for Do Not Cremate Me. As Clara and the Doctor continue to learn about what 3W is, Missy, who they met earlier, who was pretending to be an airheaded welcome lady, reveals her plan that all along the Promised Land never existed, there is no heaven, she just created this nether sphere to collect all the dead people and turn them into Cybermen. And finally, during the last 2 minutes of the episode, Missy finally reveals that all along that she is the mistress, aka the master. And last but not least, episode 12, Death in Heaven, continues with Missy and her plan for world domination of using the Cybermen to basically conquer Earth by using the Cybermen to create a giant rain cloud to rain down and bring the dead back to life as Cybermen. Missy's plans of world domination briefly get put on hold thanks to Unit showing up with Kate and Osgood, who we first met in The Day of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary special. Also get to learn that the Doctor is on the payroll for Unit, as well as he's the president of the entire world. Now that is freaking awesome. You're the Doctor from Gallifrey, a Time Lord, and yet you're the president of the entire world. Only in Doctor Who can that happen. Only in Doctor Who. After Missy gets taken on board a Air Force One type airplane, along with Doctor, the Kate, and Osgood, Missy basically proves that she is exactly what she said. She is bananas. She is ape shit crazy. She's got problems. And she lets everybody know that by having the Cybermen attack the plane in a very Twilight Zone nightmare at 20,000 feet. Love that nod. And that she's doing all of this just to basically get the Doctor's attention and basically, hi, remember, we used to be friends a long time ago, but you've kind of ignored me, so, I don't like that, so I'm doing all of this just to get your attention so you'll play with me again. Again, that only happens in the Whoverse. So while the Doctor and Missy are having it out on the plane, meanwhile back on Earth, Clara discovers that the Cyberman that saved her in 3W is actually Danny Pink. They then have a heart-to-heart basically of like, I love you, I don't want you to leave, but basically you have to leave and I have to kill you because you're a Cyberman, and it gets all very emotional. In the end, after everything that goes on, Missy reveals that the Cybermen were basically a gift to the Doctor because since he's the president, he needs an army, and that's what the Cybermen were. She presented the Cybermen to the Doctor so he can have his own personal army, which the Doctor refuses because he doesn't need an army. All he needs is his TARDIS, his screwdriver, and companion, and of course, the most important thing, love. In the end, though, Danny, who gets turned into a Cyberman partially, reveals that Missy's plan was to take the Cybermen and basically create more Cybermen. So Danny makes the ultimate sacrifice. Instead of trying to return back to human, he takes his army, his troops, his platoon of Cybermen, and they all fly up into the sky and explode, and thus ending that race of Cybermen. And then, of course, Missy then has a little melodramatic type moment, basically, and basically says that she gives up, the Doctor wins, and he supposedly kills her, but we all know that Missy isn't dead, and she's gonna return sometime season 9, because, I mean, you know you just can't kill the Master like that. 2 weeks later, we find that Danny has the power to actually come back from the afterlife, but instead of him coming back, he sends back the little boy that he accidentally killed back when he was in the military. And again, another ultimate sacrifice that basically brings Clara to tears, but she understands why Danny is doing it, and, you know, it makes Danny a good guy. Then she meets with the Doctor, and the two of them lie to each other about everything being fine, when in reality, she's not with Danny, she's miserable, he didn't find Gallifrey, Gallifrey isn't lost, it's just somewhere in its own universe. And that's basically Season 8 of Doctor Who. Except, at the very end of the episode, this mysterious voice comes out of nowhere and basically breaks the fourth wall of the episode by saying, wait, hold it. This is not the way you can end the episode. It's too sad. And then find out, when the doors to the TARDIS open, that it's none other than Father Christmas, Santa Claus himself, asking the Doctor, what do you want for Christmas? And so that's gonna get us ready for the Christmas special, where Nick Frost is playing Santa Claus. You know, if you're gonna have Nick Frost as Santa, it's going to be a good Christmas special. So, basically, that is what I thought of Season 8 of Doctor Who. It has its ups, it has its downs, and it has everything else in between. I mean, it's basically what you want in a Doctor Who season. I mean, yes, there are a lot of plot holes that kinda still need, you know, fixing, but I'm pretty sure Season 9, you know, they'll be addressed, hopefully, or maybe they won't. I mean, that's up to Stephen Moffat. I mean, he's the one in charge of all this stuff, so... But I have to say, overall, I did enjoy Season 8. At the beginning, I didn't know what to think of it. I thought maybe it wasn't going to be as good, but I've seen all the episodes, and I think that Season 8 was really good. But, you know, you may decide to think that it's absolute crap, and that's alright, because that's your opinion, and you are entitled to that. Alright guys, so that's basically all I wanted to do, is tell you about what I thought about Season 8, and basically more important, to show off my awesome Doctor Who Dalek shirt. Come on, that is just freaking awesome. Alright guys, that's all I have for this video, and I'll see you sometime soon. Alright, take care until then. Bye.